Right, I've got an excellent new small angle grinder to show you today, really high quality. It's a smaller angle grinder which takes the 100mm discs, and it's made by DeWALT, and it's the DWE8100T. Now, over the years, DeWALT have built up a really good reputation of making high quality tools, and this one is no exception. They use the best quality plastics on the motor housings and bodies. These tools often get chucked around, and I've never actually seen one that's got broken. The power cable is about 2 meters long, and it comes with this 2-pin plug. I always use these shaver type plugs that have a fuse in them, and it's 220 volts. And after I've had them for a while, I actually cut that 2-pin plug off and put an ordinary UK household plug on. It has a 720 watt motor, and the actual spindle is threaded for 10mm. So like with all these smaller angle grinders, you can actually buy a chuck with a 10mm thread. That one just screws onto there like that, and then you can use it for all different types of tools. You can actually use it with small grinding wheels, little buffing wheels. You could actually put polishing mops in there, or wire brushes. The tool is really versatile. And when you look at DeWALT angle grinders, have a look at the guard. They're nothing like those tinny ones you get on the unbranded type. The actual guard is 2mm thick, so it's really strong. The angle grinder comes complete with 2 metal grinding discs and 3 very thin metal cutting discs. It also comes with a nice thick chrome spanner with an eye in the end for hanging up, and a small box with 2 spare carbon brushes for the motor. And when you look at the brushes, you can actually see the quality of the components they use. They're very well made. I don't know whether you can actually see that there. Properly formed and perfect in shape. You can almost imagine what type of components they actually use in the DeWALT motors. Now, when I opened the box up, I was quite surprised to see that there wasn't a side handle to screw into the actual angle grinder. There's not one shown on the picture on the box, and neither is there one shown in the instruction manual, so I presume that it's not included. But don't let that put you off. You can actually go on eBay and buy a 8mm handle for very low cost. The rubber cover pulls out the end of there. You've got thread either side. Like I said, it's 8mm. I don't want to put a low cost handle on a really good quality tool like this, so I've actually made up my own handle on the lathe out of aircraft aluminium. Put a nice fine knurl on there so it doesn't actually make your hand sore or anything. And when you make these, just turn it up, knurl it, put decorative grooves in to make it look really good. And then all I do is drill and tap for an 8mm thread, cut off a piece of stainless steel studding and screw that in there with Loctite 638. It saves die cutting, it's really quick to make, and when it actually goes on the angle grinder, I actually think it complements its quality and makes it look really exceptional. But having said that, these type of small angle grinders, the body is very small diameter and they're easy to hold, and you can just use them like that. I do like having a handle for more control, so that's why I fit them. The lock for the spindle is on the top here, right in front, so you can press it nicely with a thumb, and that's nice and positive. And if you're new to angle grinders, just remember that there's 2 ways that the actual locking collar on the front can go around depending on what type of disc you're using. The one on here goes on one way and stays on there with the actual shape of the nut to drive it. So if you're using a grinding disc, bell-shaped grinding disc, thicker than the cutting discs, that one goes on the shoulder of that one, and then you put the smaller diameter on the collar. That screws into the bore of this disc and locks that up. If you're going to use a cutting disc, that one drops on that shoulder again, but you turn the collar around the other way so that the larger diameter flat face there locks down on the disc. The actual smaller diameter is pointing outwards. And if you get the collar the wrong way round on the thin cutting discs, when it's locked up, the actual disc will still spin on the shaft. So turn the spindle and press the locking button, and then just give that one a nip up. There's no need to actually over tighten it, it's just enough to stop it actually moving on the shaft. The other feature that I like on this angle grinder is the on-off switch here at the back. Just stays on all the time when switched on, and that's great if you want to make a fixture for it. I was going to make one sometime, so you can actually hold it in a vice, hands-free. And it is actually the first angle grinder I've seen with this type of switch, and in this actual location at the back here. And you can see by that example that this angle grinder has a really powerful fan cooling system. The air intakes are at the back here on either side and at the very back, and the air there coming through the front there is enough to actually blow this instruction manual off the table. That should keep this really cool and clean, and also blow the dust away when you're grinding and cutting. In fact, it's one of the most powerful flows of air I've actually felt going through an angle grinder. So for anyone watching, just remember that I made the actual handle for it. You don't get that with this machine. So overall, I think it's an excellent angle grinder and well worth the money. And if you make a really nice handle for it like I have, you'll be even more pleased with that.